Hello and welcome you all to the third DevOps project. So today what we are trying to achieve, we are going to create a Docker based application using Jenkins Freestyle method. We will write Ansible playbooks and as well as we will write Docker file. Okay. So what are the prerequisites? Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Git and Linux. Okay. So let me walk you through the scenario what we are trying to achieve today. So this is the web app server where we will get the final output. Our website will be published on this docker host, and this is the developer. Once the developer will push the code in the git repository, so the code will be basically docker file along with a ansible playbook. So once the developer will push it to the git, so Jenkins server will do what? Jenkins server will start the git checkout. So after the git checkout, all the code from the GitHub repository will come and sit to the Jenkins server. So how this Jenkins server will know about the latest commit? So we will do using a webhook. So we will establish connection between Jenkins server and GitHub repo using webhook, so that any latest commit and push happens, so Jenkins server will automatically know through the API. Okay, so what is the task of Jenkins server here? Jenkins server will transfer the loads to the Ansible server as well as the web app server. So let's go for Ansible server first. The so if you remember in the last project what we were doing, Jenkins server only building the Docker images using the Docker file, and as well as it was sending the images to the Dockerhub. But here we have, in the real industry, we don't increase load on Jenkins server. Instead of that, Ansible also we will have some separate server. But here we have limited resources, so I have done what, I have transferred the load of Jenkins server to the Ansible server here. So once the Ansible server will get the Docker file along with the Ansible file, so first step what we'll do, this Ansible server will start building the Docker images based on the Docker file. Okay, so once this will build the Docker images, then the Ansible server itself will push the Docker images to the Dockerhub repository. So our outside clients and can take the latest image, so that they will build the container based on the latest image. So once the Ansible task is done, then the third task of Ansible is to run the playbook. So the basically the playbook will contain the host information about the web app server. So we will mention the IP of the web app server into the playbook of Ansible, so that it will run the Docker commands on the web app server, and there it will deploy a container. Okay, so you can see here between the Jenkins server and Ansible server we have made a SSH connection, means passwordless authentication, and here Jenkins server and this web app server as well, you have to make passwordless authentication. So along with that, see, Ansible server and web app server should also, I missed that, but here also you have to make SSH connection, so that when the Ansible will start executing the playbook in which we have mentioned the IP of this web app server, so there should be a passwordless authentication, correct? It will not pop up for the password. So I missed a line here as well. So here also you have to make SSH connection, right? So like this, the whole scenario will work. Let me walk you through again. Once the developer will push the Docker file and Ansible file to the GitHub repository, the Jenkins server will start doing git checkout. Means it will pull all the code from Git repository to the Jenkins server itself. How this Jenkins server will come to know? By using the webhook we will configure between Jenkins and GitHub. So once Jenkins will get all the code, the Jenkins server will do what? Jenkins server will send the code through SSH to the Ansible server. Now Ansible server have the Docker file and the Ansible playbook as well. So Ansible server will build the images based on the Docker file, and after building the images, Ansible server will push all the code to the Docker repository. Okay. So once this is done, in the second phase, Ansible server will run the playbook. Okay. So in the playbook, we will mention the IP of this web app server so that Ansible server once start executing the playbook, it will start creating container on the web app server, and once that is finished, we can take the IP of this web app server, and along with the port which we have exposed, we can check in the Chrome browser. Okay, so let's see the step again. So for that we need to launch three EC2 instances, one for Jenkins, Ansible, and web app. Correct? Jenkins server, Ansible server, and web app server. Okay, so we have to ensure that Docker is installed on Ansible and web app server, correct? And along with that, plus SSH connection. Okay, and what is the third step? So the Jenkins will do git checkout. It will push all the latest code from the Git repository, and it will do send code to the Ansible server over SSH. So what is the code basically containing? The Docker file and the playbooks. Okay. It can be anything, like if you are building a Java application as well, so you will mention in the Docker file. But here in the Docker file itself, I am mentioning some URL so that it will fetch the URL and get one simple website. Okay, so in the URL itself, I have mentioned I'm not using any Java based application. Okay, so based on the URL, it will fetch the a simple website application and it will run. So it will not run, it will send, and so it will send to the Ansible server. So once the Ansible server will get the Docker file, it will build the Docker image, and after building, it will push the image to the Dockerhub, and in the last, it will run the playbook, and in the playbook only we will mention the IP of web app. Okay, so IP of web app we have mentioned. So on the IP, the playbook, the Ansible will perform operation of creating the container. Okay. So let's start, and we have to make three. Let's go for first step and let's create three. Let's launch three EC2 instances. Let's create the conveyor configuration. Next storage. First, one thing you have to notice, like I'm allowing all the traffic. Source will be anywhere for now. Let's review and launch. Click on launch, and I'm choosing key of. I have already one key, so I'm choosing that. So let's wait until it comes up all the server. Let me stop this video and let me create all the server and come back to you. So here you can see I'm ready with three servers: Jenkins server, web app server, and Ansible server here. So let me log into the Jenkins server and install the Jenkins. So I have installed Jenkins on the Jenkins server. If you don't know how to install Jenkins on Jenkins server, please watch out my one of the video which is present in the same playlist. Okay. So let me log into the web app server. Let me increase the text size. So the left side one is our web app server, and the right side is our Ansible server. So if you will go to the next step, so install Docker install on Ansible and web app server. Okay. So we have to install Docker on both of the server, right? This. So let's install. For the time constraint, I have wrote a shell script so that I'm going to execute. So this is my shell script, so I'm going to provide it permission, executable permission. Let's run it and wait until it finishes. And at the left side, you can see I have already installed Docker by executing the same shell script. So let's check the version of the Docker. So this is the version of the Docker. Let's wait for the Ansible server until it comes up after installing Docker. So Docker installed on both of the server. Let's see. Clear the screen. Okay. So this is the Docker version on both of the server. Now let's go to our step. Okay. After that, we have to make SSH connection from Ansible to the web app server. Okay. So let me go back. Okay, so this is our Ansible server and this is our web app server. Okay, so Ansible has to SSH to the web app server without any difficulty. So I have already told how to make SSH connection in one of my video. If you have any doubt, you can go and watch that. So let me walk you through, like I have already done that. So what you have to do, first step is just go to the etc/ssh sshd config. Okay, here come in insert mode, press I and see the first blinking thing you are saying permit root login. Yes. Okay, earlier it was prohibit password. I have just removed that line and instead of that I have wrote this yes. Okay, along with that you have to make one more change, like this password authentication earlier was set to no, I have set to yes. So these two setting you have to change in the sshd file. Now save and quit, and after that you have to just restart the sshd system. Okay, typo. Once this is done, the same thing you have to do for the Ansible server as well. So let's do here. I will show you here. SSH enter, come to insert mode, and here what were the changes I have done in the web app server, same I am doing here. So just uncomment this, and instead of repeat password you have to make it to yes. Along go there. So why I am enabling this SSH on this Ansible server, because see Jenkins server has to send file over SSH, right? So that's why here also we have to enable the SSH. I'm making it to yes. Now save and quit. Now what you have to do, restart the SSHD. Copy the command from here, restart the SSHD. So this setting is done. After that only you will be able to make SSH connection between Ansible and Ansible and this web app server. So let's see how to do that. First you have to make a key, SSH key on Ansible server. Okay, according to the figure, Ansible server have SSH connection with the web server. Okay, let me switch the window so that it will be easy for you to understand. This is the Ansible server and this is the web app server. Once this is done, so from here to here we have to make SSH connection. So let's generate the key. Enter, enter. So you can see you will get your public key here stored here. Okay, if you want to see you can go and check. So let me copy this to the this web app server so that it will be able to do passwordless authentication. SSH copy id -i. So here you have to provide the root @ and see here I am going with errors as well. Okay, so that you will have a better understanding. Correct. So let me copy the private IP of this web app server, right? So I am currently in the Ansible server I have generated the key and I am trying to copy the key to the this web app server so that we can make a connection of passwordless authentication. So I have provided the root username here of the web app server at the rate and IP. When you will click on that, so it is asking, are you sure want to continue with connected? Yes. So it will ask you the password of this VM, but see, you have not set password for this VM, right? So what you have to do, you have to set the password first. Just go to your web app server and set the password of root. Password, set password, re-enter. Password updated successfully, correct? So once you will go here and you will provide the same password, see, number of keys has been added now. So for that you have to make password of the root user, correct? Whatever username you are providing here. So once this is done, now let's try to SSH to the web app server from Ansible without any password. SSH root at and the password of the web app server. So this is the password of the web app server. Enter. Okay. You see here itself it has given, just check out this only. Okay. So see, from the Ansible server you came to the web app server. So now passwordless authentication has been done. How to come out? Just click on exit. So this second step is done. Okay. Now let's go to the figure. Jenkins server have to be established SSH connection with the Ansible server as well as the web app server now. Okay. So I have already showed you, so I am going to pause the video and I am going to repeat the three steps on both server for Jenkins now. So what I will do, I will just edit the SSHD config. After that I will restart the SSHD config. After that I will create the user, sorry, user. I will set the password of the root user. Okay. Then I will try to copy the key from Jenkins to the Ansible server and Jenkins to the web app server. Okay. So second step is completed. What was our second step? SSH connection through all the server. Jenkins to Ansible, Ansible to web app, Jenkins to web server. Okay. Now it's become a cycle, kind of cycle, right? Now let's move toward our third step. We have to go to the Jenkins. We have to access the Jenkins, and we have to uh, follow these two stages. One is git checkout, and second is the sending file over SSH to the Ansible server. So let's go to the Jenkins dashboard. Let me access. Let's take the public IP. Let's log in. So once you got the dashboard, just click on new items, and here you have to mention the project name. So what to give the Docker Web App 3, hence this is a third project. So I'm choosing this. Click on Freestyle project and just click on OK. So once you're inside the job, you can see here there is an option of source code management. So here we are using Git, right? Here we have to provide the repository, correct? So I have created one fresh repository here. You can see right now it doesn't have code. So before writing anything here, before providing the repository URL, we have to push some code, right? So let me go to the my VS Code. I'm using code editor VS Code here. From there I will push the code to the repository. So once you are on VS Code, just let me open the terminal. So once you are inside your project, you have to initialize the git here. initializing the git has been initialized. Okay, after that what I'm going to do, I'm adding a readme file to the git. Let's stage all the codes. Once the staging is done, you have to commit. Hence this is our first commit. Typo. Okay, so you can see 3 files changed, 46 insertion. We have 3 files here. So let's by default the branch my git create is main, so let's switch to the branch git branch. Let's specify, enter. Okay, so once this is done, you have to add the origin git remote and just take the URL of your GitHub repo and go back to the editor and just paste here and hit enter. Once this is done, you are ready to push your code. Push, sorry, git specify your branch name, hit enter. Let's wait a moment. So you can see all code has been pushed. Let's go to our git repo and just refresh it. Okay, so all the file came here, right, from the local. So now we can go ahead and specify this URL to our Jenkins provided here. Okay, so hence this is a public repository. You can see public repository and main branch. So I don't need any credential to log in. If you are using in your project any private repository, then you have to specify. You have to add your credential here. We're providing the GitHub username, use and password, and some short description about that, and add, and you are ready to go. But here I'm using public repository, so I don't need that. Also, you have to here specify for our project what is the branch we are using. This is main branch, right? Just rename it to main branch. Once this is done, now see, once this is done, I forgot to tell you, like, you have to install a plugin as well so that you can do SSH, right? So we have to install a plugin called build public over SSH. So let's go to the dashboard. Let's save this. Click on back to dashboard. Manage Jenkins. Just click on manage Jenkins. Hence you are on the dashboard. Just click on manage Jenkins. Here you have to go for this manage plugin option. So you can see here I have already installed here. Just for your knowledge, I was trying to say, see this public over SSH you have to install in your Jenkins as a plugin. So if you don't have, you have to go for available. If you're not installed, just search here and you have to install without restart. Okay, or you can install and restart this Jenkins server as well. Okay, so once you will install the plugin, what you have to do, you have to add all the SSH user. So for that, what you have to do, again I came back to my dashboard, my manage Jenkins, configure system, Scroll down. See, this public over SSH this command is there, right? Once you will install the plugin, you will get the option enabled here. But right now, what we are going to do, we are going to add all the SSH server to the Jenkins. So the Jenkins will know, like it has to switch to the Ansible server, it has to switch to the web app server, correct? So for that, we have to configure all the three server on the Jenkins, okay, into the SSH server option. So just how to add, let's click on add. So what is our first server? It's Jenkins. In place of hostname, you have to provide the IP, private IP of this Jenkins server. Okay, so what is the username? See, that time we were setting password for root user, right? While we have logged into our all the respective machines, so we have set a password for root. So this root is your username here, and how we have set a password, right? Just click on advanced and just tick mark this, and here paraphrase your password or password. You have to provide the password here. Once you have done that, you have to test the configuration. Is it working or not? So see, it is working for me. Okay, in the same way, you have to add both the server. Now you have left with you are left with the web app server and Ansible server. Let's add the Ansible server now. Ansible, what is the private IP of Ansible? Okay, what was the username? Again, here also you have set the password for root itself. Click on that. Just provide the password here. Let's test it. This is also working. Now go ahead and add the left server, which is web app. Copy the private IP. Root. But the username for that you have set password. And along with that, just check this option. Tick. And here provide the password what you have set. Just test the configuration for web app and it also succeed. Okay, so like this we have added all the server in the SSH. So once this is done, so let's go back to our project. So this was our project Docker Web App 3. Just click on that, go to configure. Okay, so once this is done, let's see either our this git checkout is working or not. Just click on apply, save, and let's build the job for once. Okay, so it's turned into green, so means our git checkout is working perfect, correct? So this was our first commit. It has also check out this event. So what is our next step? So let's go to the Jenkins server and let's check either it has done checkout. How to check that? Let's go to the Jenkins server. Okay, so let me restart this. Okay, so be a super user. What is the path of Jenkins? Bash dev Jenkins workspace ls, and see here you have your git checkout result output here. Just switch to that. Back 3 enter ls. You can see all the three file came here, right? So this is done. Now git checkout is done. Now what is our second task? Jenkins server will send the files, all three files, to the Ansible server. Okay, so let's go back to the dashboard, Jenkins dashboard. Go back to project, click on configure. So once you have done, you just have to come here to the build section, and here after installing the plugin public over SSH, you will get this send file or execute command over SSH. Means you can send a file even over SSH. So this is what we have to do, right? From Jenkins to the Ansible server, just click on that. You will have so many options. So from Jenkins, I have to execute the commands, right? So what we have to do here, we have to send the file. So what we have, let me type the command rsync. So which file do you want to send? So let me take the present working directory of this. Okay, in this folder, copy all file and do what? Just ssh root of what is the private IP of Ansible server you have set here. This is the private IP. Just copy that. Go here. Inside this, you will have /opt. Just paste everything from this place and paste it here. Okay. So let's on the server so that if we will get an issue, we will have a look on that. This apply, save, and build it. That also succeed. You can see the status as we are in build number 2. You can see the status. It has sent all the file on Ansible server. Do you want to check that? So just go to the Ansible server. I think this is our Ansible server. Okay, need to restart. Let me clear the screen. So where we have pasted the code into /opt, right? ULS, and you can see all the thing from Jenkins server came to the Ansible. Now what is our task? Once the Ansible will get all the file, it has to build the image and push the image to the Dockerhub. So let's go and add one more step. Let's go. I'm going back to the Jenkins dashboard. Just click on configure. Okay. So here you have to add one more build step, right? Again, send file or execute command over SSH. Yes, this is what we have to do. Okay. So I'm in Ansible server now. What I have to do, first I have to switch to which directories. So we have to switch to /opt directory, and here we will write all the commands of building image, right? So let's type the command. Let's give a tag. So here what I want, like our build name, our image name should be tagged like this. This is my project name. The same name I want here as well. So for that, what you have to do, you can search for Jenkins variable list. So you can see you have here job name. If you will use this ID, you will get your project job name. You can use your job name, and here you can see your build ID. You can see the number of time you will run. You will get 0, 1, 2, 3 in incremental order is dedicating to that. So -d, I want to use the job name. Okay, job name and this and the build ID. Okay, and Docker file is present in the present directory, so I'm giving dot. Okay, so Docker image building is done. Once this will build the Docker image, what is our next step? Our next step is to push the Docker image. Once this is Ansible has built, we have to push the image to the Dockerhub. But before pushing, what you have to take care, like you have to tag the image with the particular username of your Dockerhub. So for me, let's go to the Dockerhub. For me, this is my username, correct? So let's go back to here. Let's tag our Docker image tag. Which image? This image you have to tag. By which tag do you want me to tag? By this tag. Okay. So see, once you will run this, you will get different version of your images based on the number of build you will do. Again, you will commit new code. You will again get the new version of that. But if you will make it static, like in the while creating container, you have to mention like which version of image do you want to run, so it will be static, right? So what we can do again with the version, we can maintain the latest version of this version, current version, right? So let's make latest version as well. Which image do we want to tag? This image I want to tag, and I want to tag it as a latest, no version here, because version we are already maintaining, right? So for this version, this will be the latest version. For next build, fourth, like suppose fourth build, this will be the version 4 and this will be the latest version of fourth build. Okay, so once the tagging is done, what is your next step? You have to push it to the Docker Hub repo, right? So for that, must ensure that you have logged in to the Ansible server, because from the Ansible server only you are pushing to the Docker Hub repository. So you have to log into the Ansible server to the Docker, right? So before that, just write the command here: Docker image push. Which image do you want to push? Which two images I want to push? Sorry, one for maintaining version and one for maintaining the latest. Okay, so these two version has been done. So what after that I'm going to do? So see, once you will start building over and over the same job, right? A number of images will be get stored into your Ansible server and load will enhance, correct? So for that, what you have to do after image pushing is done, so you have to clear the local, right? All the images now not required. So let's write the command docker image remove. What are the images do you want to remove? First, docker remove this local image, local untagged image. Then docker should remove my this tagged image, and then docker should remove as well my, oh, sorry, latest image, right? Let me make it correct. So this is done. So for the best code practices, you just have to enable the verbas here as well. So that is looking fine. You have to Ansible has to go to the OPT folder. Once it will get the Docker file, it has to execute it. Build the image over the Docker file. Let's apply, save. Let's see the output. Okay, so build has started. Let's go to the console output here. So you can see this is going on. Download is complete. Now it is running our Docker file. So we got some error. Let's see what is the issue here. Request access is denied. Let me check the issue and I will tell you what was the resolution for that. So the first resolution may be like we have not yet logged in, right? From the Ansible server, we have to log into the Dockerhub, but we have not done. Let's try this resolution first. Let me restart this. Okay. So now I am the super user. I'm trying to log in to my Docker first. Docker login. Provide your username. This is my username. Provide your password. Hit enter. Login succeed. So let's see our fourth build. Let's build that. Let's wait for the output. So you can see the push refers to the push refers to the repository this. Okay, so it was trying to push into the docker.io slash this my username, but it was failing because we have not logged into the Ansible server to the Docker. So once this is succeeds, so what I want as a output, the image should be pushed to the Docker repository, right? Let's refresh it. This is empty now. After refresh, we should get the images here. Let us stand your version as per your build. So see, you got image in your repo. Just click on that, and after clicking on that, you can see you got for build number 1.4. Let's go to the Jenkins. This was the fourth build, correct? That's what I was talking. Fourth build, and for fourth build, this is the latest image. Okay, so this is done. So now what is our task? Now Ansible server has done the Docker job, right? Now Ansible server has to run a playbook, correct? So in the playbook we have to mention the web app server IP, or we have as much as the host we have. Based on that we will group that in the Ansible host, right? So let's go. Okay, and let me install Ansible on Ansible server first for it, so that we can execute the playbooks. Okay, let me go to the Ansible server. So I have wrote a short sh provide control s control x. Okay, once this is done, so you can see this doesn't have executable permission. So let me provide it executable permission. Chmod sh. Once this is done, you can see it is turned into green now. Okay. So let's execute that Ansible script so that our Ansible server will become Ansible server. Let's wait until it's done. So for Ansible, Python is required, right? So make sure you are installing Python as well. Let's wait. So I think Ansible is installed. Let's check the version. Okay. So this is your Ansible version you are using currently. So what I am going to do now, let's. So as I have told you already, we have to mention the IP of this web server to the Ansible, correct? So that we can make use it playbooks. Okay, so let me go back here. You have to go to the etc ansible hosts file. Okay, right now I'm using the default host file here. Okay, so here, if you don't know about that host file, you can read this as well, how to mention in group different types. So right now I'm using for web app. This is the name of the group I'm creating. Inside that I have to put the IP of the web app server. Let's go there. Click on web app server. Let's take the private IP. You have already made the SSH connection, right? For Ansible that is required. And I have pasted the private IP. Now just save and quit. Okay. So once this is done, we have to write our Ansible playbook, right? So cd/opt. We already have the playbook, correct? Playbook name is, okay, let me check. Sorry for that. Okay, so this is my playbook. Let me remove one file. Okay, so this is our Ansible file. So let me introduce you. So see, okay, so better do one thing. Let me create one more file. Here we have to keep, either see, you can put it into the git like we have done, or we can create one Ansible file here only, right, in the /opt directory, or wherever you want to create. Okay, you just have to, while running the Ansible playbook, you just have to mention the path from where you are playing your playbook, right? So let me create one Ansible playbook vi web app .yaml. Okay, just go into that. So I have already one playbook, right? And still I am writing one more because say I want to introduce you with a scenario. Like I can directly execute and show you, but I will show you like what problem you will face later. That was already prepared Ansible playbook, but here I will walk you through what are the difficulty you will face. So here I'm mentioning host as all, not a web app. If you will add more than one server also, that is fine. Let me add the task. What is the task? Create new create new container, and this is a cell, right? Analytical cell command, and here write the command for container creation. Docker run it in detached mode. What is the name of the container you want to give? I want to give Docker Ansible. Docker Ansible. This is the name of my container. Okay, which port I want to expose? At this port I want to expose with the 80 port of container. And what is the image name? Just go to your Docker here. This is the name of the image you want to pull, right? If you will provide this name, right, so it will do what it will just pull the top latest image, not the version one image. It will be, that's why we are not mentioning. We will just mention this. So it will just pull the top latest image from here. Let's go there. Okay, let me go to the server. And here just paste it. Okay, let me reframe that. So once this is done, just save and quit. Okay. So now our task is to execute this playbook. Okay. So for that we have to go to the Jenkins dashboard once again, go to the project, go to configure, scroll down, and here you have to write one more step, right? Add build step, send a file or command execute over SSH. Yes, we want to go to the Ansible server again and we want to execute the playbook. So what is the command to execute the playbook? Ansible playbook and your playbook name, right? So what was the playbook name? Okay. So inside slash opt you have webapp.yml, right? Inside the playbook you have webapp.ml. Go to slash opt. Here we have webapp.yml playbook. Okay, this you have to play, right? Let's, for best code practices, let's tick the buttons. Just click on apply, save. Let's see if it is working fine. Fifth stage is, let's go to the console output. So you can see it is saying Ansible playbook command not found. Okay, so you can see there I have a typo, play double B. Okay, I have wrote. Let's go back and see the resolution if it's work. Scroll down. Okay, so we, now it is going, host is not a valid attribute for the play, right? Something wrong with the host. Let me check. Let's go back. Sorry, here you have to write hosts, not host. Let me recorrect it and let's run the build again. Hosts, the system. Let's build the pipeline again. Sorry, job. Click on build and wait. So you can see now our playbook started running. Okay, so this is done, but these all are creating new container. Something wrong with the container. Okay, so now it succeeds. So again I got the typo, sorry for that again. So let's see if our website is up or not. Let's take the public IP of this web app server. Go to your browser, any browser, and which port you have opened in the container, right? 9000. Hit enter. So see, this is your running website, correct? So now let's go back to the playbook and see why I have wrote the playbook. I will tell you now. So if you will build the same pipeline again, okay, let's build it and see the output. It will fail this time. I will tell you. This is because see, once again you will run the same playbook, okay, and playbook having which name? Cat of web app. So this name container will be already existing, right? So again and again you will build the container will be already existing into the web app server, right? Okay, so that is the main issue. So what you have to do first, you have to stop this the pre-running container if it is already with the same name, then remove it. Then only you have to create a new container, right? That's what I have. That's what I have noted in our this Docker YAML. You can see. First, stop all the container. So this like this. So let me write all the command. This is not perfect script. What will be the best practice? First stop the running container. What are the shells for that? Docker stop. What is the name of your container? This is the name of my container. Okay. Hit I. Let's paste here. Docker. Docker container stop. This. Let me write all the things and come back to you. What is the name of your image? For the Dockerhub, copy this. So see, why am you removing this image? Okay, let me tell you. Just a second. Why we are removing this image? See, once you will run for the first time you have ran this create new container. That time what happened? It has already have a latest image, right? So next time for the second time you will run. So locally it has already one local image, right? Locally it have already. So it will not go to the Docker Hub again and it will push the latest image, whatever we will push on Git. So now in the case only like you are removing, then it will create again a fresh container here, right? So we have nothing left in local, either container, either image. Now it is automatically based on full fresh things from Docker, right? Just save it. Okay. So let's do one thing. I have told you, right? We are integrating Git as well, right? So once we will do the changes from local, it should automatically build it, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to integrate Jenkins with Git server, correct? So how to do that? Let's go to the Jenkins project. This is your project. Just go to the settings. In the settings, you will have webhooks. Click on that. Here you have to add webhook. Okay. So where is our webhook? Here you have to provide the URL of your Jenkins. This is the URL of your Jenkins. Just go back to add webhook. Here you have to provide GitHub hyphen webhook. Make sure you are not doing any typo. The slash is important. Make sure you are keeping this. What will be the content type? This is the content type, and let's how to generate a secret here. Just go back. Let me duplicate this tab and let me show you. Just go up. Just click on your user name of the Jenkins. Just go to configure. Click on add token. Here you have to generate. Just copy this and make sure you are applying and saving it. 133. Okay. So once you have copied it, just click on add webhook. Wait for a second. See, this will send the API request to our Jenkins, and once you will refresh, you can see there is a tick mark here, correct? So what I want now, let's go to our Git. Again, here we have kept all of our code based on the new commit. Jenkins should run, right? So let's uh, uncomment this sign website, and I'm going to uncomment this photogenic website, which is currently running over there, right? Photogenic one is running right now. So I want this website to publish now, right? Once you will done, and let's save it. Once you have to now you have to commit this one. So I'm staging and commit git. Once this is done, just hit enter. So this is done, right? Now you have to push here branch. So you can see it pushed all the code to the GitHub repo. Now let's go to our Jenkins. Let's see if it is running automatically or not. 10th build should start. So it didn't happen. Let's do it first manually. Let's build and let's see our sign website is getting published or not. Let me run the 10th build manually. So it succeed. Let's refresh this photogenic website. Okay, so sign website is coming up here. Okay, so let's see why our webhook is not working. The video is already became 1 hour crossed already. Let's do one thing. Let's again comment this, and let's again restart our photogenic website. I'm saving this. Again, I'm staging, commit, push.